If you're a fan of the game Just Shapes and Beats, then you'll be a fan of Last Shape Standing because they follow the same kind of guiding principles but have a slightly different execution. And if you're a fan of one, you'll like the other and vice versa. Last Shape Standing is a avoid 'em up survival game for 1 to 4 players, either locally or through Steam Remote Play. And the idea is that you select at random a collection of challenges for you to avoid anything that's red inside them, and that theme carries across every level that you play. However, the execution is really where Last Shape Standing's unique selling point comes in, because unlike games like Just Shapes and Beats, you're often seeing it from like a top-down 2D geometric funky like perspective, and I absolutely adore that game to bits. And it's all kind of synced to the music, and it's very rhythmic and to the beat and all of that kind of stuff. Last Shape Standing eschews some of that, although there is quite a lot of avoid 'em up style gameplay, but it also brings in other mini games and homages to other genres, so that it becomes like a mishmash of a rhythmic avoid 'em up game mixed like Just Shapes and Beats with a kind of move or die sentiment to it, with quirky mini games that kind of tip their hat to different arcade genres. So, what are you getting in here? You're getting loads of different mini games that you'll unlock through just continuous play. As you complete each challenge, you'll earn currency, and the longer that you survive and chain up things as you survive for longer, you get a multiplier on the currency that you win. So it will go like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. And the longer you survive, your currency basically exponentially grows, and then you use that currency to unlock more mini games to be dropped into your randomized pile. Those mini games have a large section of like avoid 'em up things. So it'll be stuff not synced to music, but it will be like lasers coming across a screen that you'll need to avoid, and you get given like a half-second warning to get out of its way before it comes through. There'll be another one where like a spiked walls will close in on you, and it's like you're inside a spiked cage, and it will move around different locations, yo-yoing and expanding and contracting to try and catch you out. There's other ones where there's like disco bombs bouncing around that you'll need to get out of its way once it counts down to 0. But then it starts to move away from this like top-down perspective to almost like a side view. So there's ones where you're running on a conveyor belt, having to jump over red stacked boxes and not touch them, but also avoid the red cog that's churning around the conveyor belt. Because again, every time you touch something red, you'll lose a health point. And if you're playing competitively, you'll also have some versus modes as well, where you start to move beyond this avoidance stuff, and it's things like sometimes you'll have guns, and it becomes a bullet hell style game where you can shoot your opponents and get them to lose health. There is an entire twin stick shooter minigame in here where you're shooting zombies that are red inside an apocalypse. There's also a send-up of Undertale, for example. There's another one around like worms and placing eggs in different locations. So there's a variety of different things going on. And that's really what Last Shape Standing's USP is that it's not just an avoidance game. There's mini-games in here too. But the general theme is avoid the red. I found this game absolutely fantastic to play. The controls are slightly woolly, and it was accentuated slightly when I was having to record footage. It felt better when I wasn't having to record, which is quite unusual, I find, for this. So I think there's probably some optimization to be done in the background. And to be fair, this game is out on early access whilst they're adding more levels and like variants that you can have that you unlock through the game itself. I've been playing this game for a few hours. I'm still unlocking stuff, so I've not seen everything. But there's plenty here in early access for you to get stuck into at the price of £6 as a standard price, and it's got a launch week of 20% off. So a huge thumbs up in terms of value for what you're getting here too. If I am to be a little bit critical, I did find that sometimes I was losing health when I didn't think I should. And this is because in some of the, if not all of the avoid 'em up levels, you have the ability to dash through something that is red so that you stay like invincible during the dash. But understanding where your dash starts and ends is a bit tricky, and there were some levels where it felt like the collision detection was off. Especially there's a demolition level where a wrecking ball comes in and knocks down a building, and as it collapses and all of the workmen are kind of moving around you, pieces of the building are falling down and you have to avoid it. And because it isn't straight lines and it's lots of diagonal pieces, it seemed to like get a bit woolly with the collision detection, and that kind of diagonal collision detection was spottable across a few mini games. Hopefully that'll just be tightened up as the early access continues. But I have to say, this is an absolute blast. Really enjoyed this. Feels different enough from Just Shapes and Beats and other Avoid 'em Up games to feel like it warrants a place out there in the gaming world. Sometimes you can almost be like a homage but not actually stand out from its shadow, whereas Last Shape Standing does enough differently and feels unique and different to stand on its own 2 feet, and I think that's one of the best compliments that you can give. Last Shape Standing, out today on early access. Give it a whirl. Written review over on higherplanegames.com. Take care.
Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/Higher Plane Network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.